So Jezebel, she finally met her end by being thrown out of a tower window. And when she hit the ground, she was eaten by dogs. You see what Jezebel represented, I want to say is Second Kings. This is in the times of Elijah. Um, don't quote me on which book of Kings it is. But she was really the terror of the time, and she was working for the Phoenician god Baal. It's spelled Baal, and I know a lot of times I'm tempted to pronounce it Baal or Baal, which is other pronunciations of it. But they have another pronunciation of it too. Pronunciation of it that reads Ball, just like ball, just like the Jim Jones song, ballin', ball to ball. And this translates to Lord or owner. So you have that term right there where the term Lord wasn't the first time that the term Lord was really referenced, right? So in different cultures, the word Lord had different spellings and different etymologies. For instance, with Phoenicians, it was Baal. And with Babylon, it was like a Marduk. These were different titles that were also names of entities. And Baal has a place on the back half of the Kabbalistic tree too, on the Cliphotic side. So the idea of being an owner and the idea of being a steward and managing things still plays. Where Jezebel's role in serving the spirit of ownership came into play was in her eradication of the Yahweh Jehovah's prophets. This was her personal mission because she was fighting God for God. That was her thing. Ahab was more so concerned just about securing a kingdom. He was more political. You would have times where Ahab would even consult the Lord. This was Jezebel's husband, the king Ahab. He would even consult the Lord and consult Elijah, even though he was up under Baal, even though he was under that particular god, who was considered a sun deity also. So they were running around believing that they were the illuminated ones of their time. And Ahab was more like the diplomat, and Jezebel was really the war general because her whole aim was to destroy. Her purpose was to destroy the prophets, and their thing was also a sex cult. So fertility was a big part of Baal worship. This is the part that usually gets hampered on and underlined the most, as if this is the totality of what the Jezebel character is, and it's deeper than that. They usually associate Jezebel with just the whoring side, just the whoring energy. Like, that's a Jezebel. She'll be a homewrecker. She'll take your man. That's a Jezebel. She's sneaky. She'll steal your man. That's a Jezebel. Don't leave your man around her. The whorish side of Jezebel is usually the side that gets acknowledged only. But there's a whole nother side to Jezebel, and that's to put a prophet in a cave, to put you back into Plato's cave, to put you back into a space where you're deceived by shadows, where you're not working with natural light, you're working with unnatural light levels. You're not working with natural light, but you're working with unnatural light levels. Because Jezebel, that spirit, will put a prophet in a cave if it doesn't kill a prophet. That was her mission. The Phoenician god Baal, he puts a prophet back in a cave. And unless you understand mental transmutation, you don't retreat into the cave unless your cave represents a cache, like a storehouse of artillery, a place of shelter. For Elijah, it was a place of retreat. He was on the run from Jezebel. Jezebel made a promise that she would have him killed. And this sent Elijah running away. You have a lot of Elijahs. And what did Elijah represent? Based on the New Testament, talking about Elijah reconciling the hearts of the fathers to their children. Or I want to say it was the end of Malachi. I'm sorry, the end of Malachi, where they talk about the Elijah must come, and his spirit will be the one that reconciles the hearts of the fathers to the children, which is very needed now in this age when you have such a tension between parent-child, parents and children. These are the days that Christ was talking about when he said parents and children will cause themselves to be killed. We're in those days now. And the Elijah, the one who's supposed to connect the bond and bridge the gap between parent and child, he's being shut up in a cave based on Baal's number one assailant, the spirit of Jezebel, who is not just about physical pleasure, but is really about conquest, deified conquest. And Phoenix also comes from, the Phoenician also comes from Phoenix. That's also the rising bird on the left-hand side, the dark phoenix, the fiery phoenix, the lady of rage, the Jezebel. And Jezebel, her name is connected to a prince when you go back into that culture, connected to a prince. So she's working in masculine energy. She's working in masculine energy, this Jezebel. So how do you understand Jezebel in this time? You understand this then. When you go within, don't be pushed within, to flee within, because this will represent Elijah being pushed back into a cave, and the prophets of your levels of ownership being killed and swapped out for another person's levels and definitions of ownership. It's owner versus owner, the Lord versus Baal. You are an owner, but also those who serve Baal are also owners in their own right. This just comes with the individualistic sovereign package that is human. That is what it is to be human. So Jezebel has to be thrown out of your tower. It was Jehu who came up and said, is there anybody here in this tower who is on the Lord's side? He was coming for conquest. Somebody peeked their head out of the window, and that person immediately threw Jezebel out of the window. See, Jezebel, she was sending people down into the underworld too. She was representing Anubis, the female dog. She was representing that on account of Baal. So her fate ended up being devoured by the dogs after being thrown out of the tower. Where's the tower? The tower is the neck. The tower is the throat chakra. That's the voice box. You got to get the retreating nature, the retreating back to the cave, the folding up, the imploding, the freezing of the timidity. You have to get that. You have to throw that out of your tower, because that's destroying all the prophetic parts of you. That is called the Lord. That is called the owner. There's another owner trying to take over your land. Your body is your land. There's another owner trying to take over your vessel. Your body is your vessel. That's land. It's owner versus owner. And you're there to protect yours. So understanding how the spirit of Jezebel works, it's like putting an electric fence around your throat chakra, like putting an electric fence around your tower, so that whatever is in your tower gets thrown out of your tower, and whatever is trying to approach your tower that is against your tower doesn't get entrance into your tower. So again, this is Super T Sigma of Sigma Program, and I thank you for your time and attention. You already know reaching is teaching. In the meantime, continue to vibrate high, people. Remember balance. Peace.